There's some breaking news from Capitol Hill that they're proposing a new congressional bill that will create a child savings account from birth until they're 18 years old, and it's called a 401 kids plan. Now, that's a clever name because we all know what a 401k is, and so they're calling it 401 kids. So I'm fired up to show you what this is about and how this is different from the normal 529 college savings plan, UPMA, and UGMA. Senator Bob Casey, Chuck Schumer, and Ron Wyden are proposing the 401 Kids Savings Act that will supposedly allow parents to start savings for their kids as soon as they're born. And there's not a whole lot of detail about how they're going to do this, but let me just summarize what this letter says and how much money each child will receive. And it says for parents who are kept up at night worrying about how they're going to pay their bills and keep a roof over their heads, it's hard to imagine putting money away for their kids' future. The rising costs of everyday items are making it harder for working families to make ends meet, let alone create wealth and reach for their American dream. A lack of income means you can't get by a lack of wealth means you can't get ahead. Without savings, families don't have a cushion when a job is lost, a health emergency arises, or a car breaks down. It also means that working families have fewer opportunities to start a business, buy a first home, pursue higher education, or build a better life for their children. And the letter goes on to say that over 80% of people between the ages of 18 and 24 have less than $20,000 in financial assets. The student loan balances are growing, and home ownership has significantly declined over the last 2 decades compared to older generations. The new 401 kids accounts will be built on 529 college savings platforms and managed by state treasurers. And once the accounts are established for all newborns and kids under the age of 18, families, nonprofits, employers, foundations, and others could contribute to a 401 kids account, which starting at age 18 could be used for post-secondary education, training, starting a new small business, buying a first home, or retirement security. While all families could contribute up to $2,500 per year to the accounts, only lower and moderate income families would receive direct federal support. And the proposed plan is to have each household contribute up to $2,500 per child ages 0 to 17. And low to moderate income families would also be eligible for annual federal deposits until a child turns 18 years old. So what that means is that families with modified adjusted gross income under $75,000 a year for single tax filers or $150,000 for married couples filing their taxes jointly would receive $500 per year per child from the federal government. And it doesn't say how this is all going to be funded just yet, but knowing how Congress does their budget, it's probably going to be coming out of borrowed money. And children in households that are eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit or EITC would receive an additional $250 per year. And even if the EITC is not claimed, they're still going to receive $250 per year. And the eligible household may also receive a dollar-to-dollar savings match on individual contributions for up to $250 per year. And keep in mind that the 401 kids plan would be managed by the state, like the 529 college savings plan. So depending on the state, the kids could also get a savings match from the state government. So the single parents who earn $40,000 in adjusted gross income can accumulate more than $53,000 by the time a newborn child turns 18 years old. And that estimate assumes $21,000 in federal funding, $8,500 in family contributions, and $24,000 in investment returns. Since this is managed by the state treasury, I'm gonna guess that the money is going to be invested in very conservative funds like treasury bonds or the money market fund that makes about, say, 2.5 to 3% average annual return. And it doesn't say if the parents will have the option to invest in the stock market like the 529 college savings plan. But it does say that once the kids become 18 years old, they can roll this money right over to their traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs. So let me run some numbers and just kind of show you the numbers here, okay? You have access to this compound interest calculator for absolutely free by visiting firesearch.com/resources. So let's assume that each child gets $2,500 per year in contributions, which is about $200 per month, with a 3% average annual return in 17 years. That's going to come out to about $58,000 by the time the child turns 18 years old. If the federal government provides a $500 match, and that could be increased to $70,000, about $71,000 by the time the child turns 18 years old. And keep in mind that none of these dollars are adjusted for inflation. If it's going to work just like the 401k, then I'm going to guess that the IRS will raise the contribution limit by $250 every year or every other year to keep up with inflation. So what do I think of all this? I don't entirely know yet because it doesn't provide a whole lot of details, but I don't know if it's even going to get passed in Congress because it looks like it was proposed just by the Democrats. So we'll see about that one. Do I think this is a good idea? Potentially. It's not a secret that a lot of younger adults today are still living with their parents because they can't afford to live on their own. And I've been investing in my daughter's 529 college savings plan since the day she was born. And I also have an UTMA account for her, which stands for Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. And it's basically a gift account for her when she becomes 18 years old. The downside of UTMA is that I have to pay taxes on dividends and capital gains every year. And the other downside of the 529 is that it's only tax-free if it's used for education. The Secure Act 2.0 actually now allows you to roll that 529 over to your kid's Roth IRA if they decide not to go to college. If this 401 kids plan is a tax-free or tax-deferred account, then I will be willing to give it a try. Now, these senators mention how student loans are becoming a problem in this country. I think student loans have been a problem since schools started raising tuition fees since millennials started attending college. From 2000 to 2021, the average tuition and fees jumped by 65%. And if you're asking me who the real problem is, we probably need to look at these public universities that overcharge their students and parents. And I'm sure there will be more news about this. I'll do my best to keep you up to date. So let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on the 401 kids plan.